Camilla woke up early that morning with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Today was supposed to be an important day. Foreign dignitaries from 3 countries were coming to the palace for discussions about trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and collaborations. Camilla had been preparing for this meeting for weeks. She had reviewed every document, practiced every speech, and memorized all the details. She wanted to make a strong impression and show that she could handle such responsibilities with grace and intelligence. The palace was already buzzing with activity when she arrived. Staff moved quickly through the corridors, adjusting decorations, arranging flowers, and checking the dining areas. Security personnel walked with alert expressions, scanning for anything unusual. Everything seemed perfectly organized, and Camilla felt a sense of pride. She had worked hard for this moment, and she wanted to make it perfect. She adjusted her scarf and straightened her dress before entering the grand hall. Sunlight poured through the tall windows, reflecting off the polished marble floors. The walls were adorned with paintings of past kings and queens, each looking down as if observing the current events. Camilla stepped forward, expecting the dignitaries to be waiting for her. She had rehearsed every greeting, every handshake, and even the small talk she would use to make them comfortable. Instead, she was stopped by Thomas, the head of the royal guard. His face was serious, and his eyes avoided hers. Camilla felt a sudden unease as he approached. "Your Highness," Thomas said with a respectful bow, "I am sorry, but there has been a change. You will not be attending today's meeting. Prince William will represent the royal family instead." Camilla froze. The words seemed impossible to comprehend. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out at first. Then she tried to regain her composure. "What do you mean, why? I have prepared everything." "This is my responsibility," she said, her voice firm but shaking slightly. Thomas shook his head. "Orders come from above. I cannot explain further. I am instructed to inform you and ensure that everything proceeds smoothly with the prince." Camilla felt her heart sink. She had imagined this moment for months, and now it was gone. She took a deep breath and tried to remain calm. She knew that showing anger or frustration would not help. Instead, she decided to observe the situation quietly. She stepped aside as Prince William entered the hall. He looked confident and composed, as if nothing had changed at all. Cameras flashed, and the dignitaries greeted him warmly. From the corridor, Camilla watched silently. The dignitaries smiled and shook hands, unaware that there had been a sudden change. William spoke clearly and politely, guiding the discussions with ease. Camilla felt a mixture of admiration and frustration. She knew he was capable, but she could not understand why she had been replaced at the last moment. After a few minutes, she decided to leave the corridor and walk through the palace gardens. She needed to think, to process what had just happened. The gardens were quiet, and the soft sound of water from the fountains created a calming atmosphere. Birds chirped in the trees, and the scent of fresh flowers filled the air. Camilla walked along the stone paths, her mind racing with questions. Why had the royal guard canceled her meeting? Was it because of something she had done or not done? Was it a political decision she did not yet understand? Or was it personal? She had always known that palace life involved politics and complex relationships, but she had never imagined being sidelined in this way. As she walked, she saw some palace staff tending to the flowers. They greeted her politely, and she returned their smiles, though her thoughts were far away. She needed answers, but she also needed to remain calm. She could not let frustration cloud her judgment. Camilla decided that she would investigate quietly. She would gather information and try to understand why she had been replaced. Meanwhile, inside the hall, the meeting was proceeding smoothly. Prince William spoke with the dignitaries, discussing trade opportunities and cultural exchanges. He asked thoughtful questions and listened carefully to the responses. Camilla could hear the voices faintly from the corridor. The dignitaries seemed pleased with the discussions, and the atmosphere was cordial and professional. Camilla realized that while the meeting was important, understanding the reason behind her removal was even more crucial. She had to find out who had made the decision and why. She could not allow herself to be treated as if her efforts and preparation meant nothing. Determined, she decided to start with her close advisors. They might have information or clues that could help her uncover the truth. She returned to her private chambers and called her secretary, Helen. Helen had worked with her for many years and knew her habits and preferences well. When Helen arrived, Camilla asked quietly, "Do you know anything about why the meeting was canceled for me?" Did anyone give you instructions? Helen shook her head, looking concerned. I only know what Thomas told me. Orders came from the Royal Guard, but no explanation was given. I am sorry, Your Highness. I wish I could help more. Camilla thanked her and sat down, thinking deeply. She knew that she needed to gather information from other sources as well. She decided to speak with the palace staff, people who had been present during the announcement. Perhaps they had noticed details that others had missed. She also planned to review any communications she had received over the past few days. Sometimes decisions were hinted at in emails or letters before being officially stated. As she went through the documents on her desk, she noticed a message from a palace advisor. The tone was formal and careful, but it mentioned that some changes were being made to royal protocols for high-profile meetings. Camilla's heart raced. Could this be related to her sudden replacement? She continued reading carefully, trying to understand every word. By midday, Camilla had formed a plan. She would remain calm and composed publicly, but she would quietly investigate the reasons for her removal. She could not let this situation undermine her position or her reputation. She would ask questions discreetly, observe carefully, and gather facts before confronting anyone. Later, she returned to the hall, where the meeting was finishing. Prince William was concluding the discussions, and the dignitaries were preparing to leave. Camilla stayed in the background, watching as everything proceeded smoothly. She felt a mixture of relief and determination. Relief because the meeting was successful despite her absence, and determination because she knew she would find the answers she needed. As the dignitaries departed, Camilla approached Prince William. She spoke politely, maintaining a friendly tone. I hope the meeting went well. I am glad everything was handled smoothly. William smiled at her. It went well. I am sure you would have done just as fine. I hope you are not too disappointed. Camilla smiled faintly. I am managing. Thank you for your efforts today. After he left, Camilla remained in the hall for a while, reflecting on the events of the day. She realized that palace life was unpredictable and full of surprises. One had to be strong, patient, and observant. She had learned today that even when one is well prepared, decisions could be made without notice. What mattered most was how she responded to these challenges. As the sun set, Camilla walked through the gardens again. The soft light made the flowers glow and the fountains reflected the colors of the sky. She felt a renewed sense of determination. She would find out why the Royal Guard had canceled her meeting. She would understand the decisions made above her, and she would ensure that her role in the palace remained respected and recognized. Camilla knew that the path ahead might be challenging, but she was ready to face it. She was determined to uncover the truth, maintain her dignity, and prove her capability. The events of the day had tested her patience, but they had also strengthened her resolve. She would not let this setback define her. She would turn it into an opportunity to understand the palace better and to prepare for even greater responsibilities in the future. With a deep breath, she walked back to her chambers, ready to begin her investigation and determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The day had started with disappointment, but it would end with clarity and purpose. The next morning, Camilla woke up feeling determined. She could not let the sudden change in her duties go unexplained. Today she would start finding answers. She dressed in a simple but elegant outfit and went to the palace library. It was a quiet place, filled with the scent of old books and polished wood. Camilla often came here to think. The library had tall shelves and sunlight streamed through the large windows, creating warm patterns on the floor. She asked the librarian, Mr. Collins, to bring her records of recent communications within the palace. Camilla wanted to see if there were any hints or messages about changes in protocol or royal meetings. Mr. Collins respected her privacy and quickly provided a small stack of documents and letters. Camilla sat at a large oak table and began reading carefully. As she examined the documents, she noticed several notes that mentioned adjustments in responsibilities for high-profile events. Some of these notes were general, while others suggested that certain meetings might require the direct presence of Prince William. Camilla frowned. She had not been informed of these changes until Thomas delivered the news. It seemed unfair, but she had to find out the reasons behind these decisions. She decided to speak with her advisor, Lady Margaret. Lady Margaret had been part of the royal household for many years and had always been honest with Camilla. She entered the advisor's office, which was filled with paintings, maps, and papers. Lady Margaret looked up and smiled warmly. "Good morning, Your Highness." "You look thoughtful," she said. Camilla returned the smile faintly. "I am thinking, Lady Margaret. I want to understand why I was replaced at yesterday's meeting. Do you know anything about it?" Lady Margaret paused for a moment. She chose her words carefully. "There have been some decisions made about which royal members should attend certain high-profile meetings. It is partly to ensure visibility for the prince. I cannot say more without proper clearance, but perhaps you could speak with Sir Henry. He handles the arrangements for such events and may provide guidance." Camilla nodded. She thanked Lady Margaret and left the office, determined to speak with Sir Henry. She found him in the administrative wing of the palace. He was reviewing schedules and lists, looking focused. Camilla approached him respectfully. "Sir Henry, may I have a moment?" she asked. He looked up and smiled politely. "Of course, Your Highness. How can I assist you?" Camilla took a deep breath. "I want to understand why I was replaced for the meeting with the foreign dignitaries. I have prepared extensively and was informed at the last moment that I would not attend. Can you explain why this decision was made?" Sir Henry looked thoughtful. "I understand your concerns. The decision was not personal, I assure you. The choice was made to have Prince William lead these particular discussions. It is part of a new protocol to increase direct royal visibility in international matters. I realize you were not informed in advance, and for that I apologize. But these changes are being implemented across several events." Camilla listened carefully. She understood the explanation, but she also felt that she deserved more respect for her preparation and effort. "I see. Thank you for clarifying, Sir Henry. I want to ensure that I remain involved in significant matters and that my responsibilities are respected." Sir Henry nodded. "I understand completely. Your involvement is important, and I will make sure you are kept informed of future changes. Your role remains essential to the royal household." Camilla left the office with a mix of relief and resolve. She had some answers, but she was not fully satisfied. She realized that palace decisions were often made quietly, and influence could shift quickly. She needed to be proactive if she wanted to maintain her position and respect. Later in the day, Camilla met with her personal secretary, Helen. They reviewed the schedule of upcoming meetings and events. Helen suggested that Camilla could attend preparatory discussions, briefings, and smaller gatherings, even if she was not leading major events. This way she would remain informed and involved, Camilla agreed. She knew that showing patience and diligence would demonstrate her strength and commitment. Camilla also decided to observe the palace more closely. She walked through the corridors, spoke with staff, and listened to conversations. She noticed subtle shifts in attitude. Some members of the household seemed eager to impress Prince William, while others were cautious about new protocols. Camilla realized that palace life was not just about formal duties, but also about understanding relationships and influence. In the afternoon, she returned to the gardens to reflect. The fountains were still and the flowers glowed under the soft sunlight. She watched the palace birds, feeling calm. Camilla understood that this situation required strategy and patience. She could not rush, but she could prepare herself for future opportunities. As she walked, she overheard a conversation between two staff members. They were discussing the meeting from the previous day. One of them mentioned that the decision to replace Camilla had been discussed at the highest level, and it was seen as a strategic move to strengthen Prince William's international presence. Camilla listened quietly. This confirmed what Sir Henry had said, but she also realized that some decisions were influenced by perception and politics, not just protocol. Camilla decided that she would focus on building her own influence in areas where she could make a difference. She could lead cultural programs, charitable events, and initiatives that connected the royal family with the public. By excelling in these areas, she could demonstrate her value and earn respect independently of sudden protocol changes. The following days were busy. Camilla attended briefings, reviewed reports, and worked with staff to plan upcoming events. She maintained her composure and professionalism, even though she sometimes felt frustration. She realized that how she responded to challenges was as important as her preparation for events. Each action she took, each meeting she attended, contributed to her reputation. One evening, she received a note from Lady Margaret. It invited her to a private conversation about a new initiative for cultural exchange with several countries. This initiative was significant and required careful planning and leadership. Camilla's heart lifted. This could be an opportunity to show her skill and dedication. The next morning, Camilla met with Lady Margaret in a quiet sitting room. The room was warm, with soft lighting and comfortable chairs. Lady Margaret explained the details of the initiative, emphasizing the importance of connecting with foreign cultures and promoting goodwill. Camilla listened attentively, taking notes and asking questions. She felt a renewed sense of purpose. "This is an important responsibility, Your Highness," Lady Margaret said. "It will allow you to lead efforts that have a direct impact on the royal family's image and relationships abroad." Camilla nodded. "I understand. I will do my best to ensure the initiative is successful and meaningful." As she left the sitting room, Camilla reflected on the events of the past week. Being replaced at the meeting had been a challenge, but it had also taught her valuable lessons. She learned that patience, observation, and strategy were essential in palace life. She realized that setbacks could become opportunities if approached with intelligence and composure. Camilla returned to her chambers that evening and reviewed her plans for the cultural initiative. She wanted to create programs that were thoughtful, engaging, and impactful. She also decided to keep track of palace decisions quietly, noting patterns and understanding how influence worked. This way, she could be proactive and prepared for future situations. Before going to bed, Camilla looked out the window at the palace grounds. The fountains reflected the moonlight, and the gardens were peaceful. She felt a sense of determination. The events of the past week had been challenging, but they had strengthened her resolve. She knew that she could navigate palace life with wisdom and patience. Camilla understood that influence was not only about attending meetings, but also about showing leadership, dedication, and intelligence in every task she undertook. She was ready to face challenges, to find answers, and to build her role in a way that could not be easily replaced. With this thought, Camilla turned off the lights and went to bed. She was prepared for whatever the palace and life might bring next. She knew that her journey was just beginning, and she was determined to face it with grace, intelligence, and unwavering determination. The morning sun streamed into Camilla's chambers, casting soft patterns across the floor. She sat at her desk reviewing notes for the cultural initiative. Each note was carefully organized, highlighting opportunities to connect with foreign representatives and promote the royal family's image. Camilla had realized that while protocol changes could limit her in some ways, she could still make a meaningful impact through her leadership and dedication. She began her day with a walk through the palace corridors, greeting staff and observing the flow of activity. The palace was alive with purpose, yet subtle hierarchies and tensions were always present. Camilla had learned to notice these details. She understood that influence was not just about formal authority, but also about relationships and perception. The way people responded to her calm confidence and professionalism mattered just as much as her titles. After her walk, she attended a preparatory meeting for the cultural initiative with her advisors. Lady Margaret led the discussion, and Camilla listened carefully. She asked questions about logistics, schedules, and possible challenges. Each answer gave her a clearer picture of what needed to be done. She could feel the weight of responsibility, but it was the kind of pressure she had learned to welcome. "This initiative will involve multiple countries," Lady Margaret explained. "You will need to coordinate with diplomats, cultural experts, and members of the royal household. The goal is to strengthen relationships and show a genuine interest in collaboration." Camilla nodded, taking detailed notes. She knew this was her opportunity to demonstrate leadership. She wanted to ensure that every step was thoughtful and meaningful. She also realized that careful planning would help her gain respect within the palace and with foreign representatives. After the meeting, Camilla requested a private session with Sir Henry. She wanted to discuss potential challenges and ensure she understood any protocol requirements that might affect her initiative. Sir Henry listened attentively as she spoke. "Your Highness," he said thoughtfully, "you have a clear vision for this initiative. I will provide guidance wherever necessary. There may be certain traditions and protocols you need to follow, but I believe your approach is respectful and effective." Camilla felt reassured. She thanked Sir Henry and promised to keep him informed of her progress. Then she returned to her chambers to prepare presentations and drafts for the cultural programs. She wanted to ensure that everything she proposed was detailed, practical, and innovative. She also planned to meet with some staff members who had experience in cultural affairs to gather additional ideas. As she worked, Camilla noticed subtle movements in the palace staff. Some were curious, others cautious, and a few seemed hesitant to speak freely. She understood that palace life involved careful observation. By noticing these nuances, she could build stronger alliances and avoid misunderstandings. Patience and awareness were essential. Later that afternoon, Camilla met with Mr. Parker, a palace staff member who had extensive experience coordinating international events. He had served in the household for many years and had knowledge of how foreign dignitaries responded to different approaches. Camilla welcomed his advice and listened attentively as he shared his insights. "The key is respect and preparation," Mr. Parker explained. "Every culture has its own customs. Understanding them shows thoughtfulness and care. You want representatives to feel valued and understood. Small gestures often make a big difference." Camilla took careful notes. She asked questions about formalities, seating arrangements, and ways to make the initiatives more engaging. Mr. Parker offered practical suggestions that could enhance the programs, and Camilla felt grateful for his experience. She realized that leadership was not about doing everything alone, but about listening and learning from those with knowledge and skill. The next few days were busy. Camilla coordinated with various departments, reviewed plans, and refined her strategies. She kept a careful record of her progress, noting accomplishments and identifying areas that needed more attention. The work was detailed and demanding, but she found satisfaction in seeing her plans take shape. One afternoon, while reviewing documents in her chambers, Camilla received a message from Lady Margaret. It invited her to attend a private briefing with Prince William. Camilla was curious. She wondered if the prince would offer advice, discuss the initiative, or provide guidance on protocol. When she entered the sitting room, Prince William was already there, reviewing notes. He looked up and greeted her warmly. "Camilla, I understand you are leading the cultural initiative. I wanted to hear your plans and offer support if needed." Camilla smiled politely. "Thank you, Your Highness. I appreciate your time. I have outlined several programs that focus on cultural exchange, education, and collaboration. I would value your feedback to ensure alignment with royal priorities." William nodded. "Your approach seems thoughtful. Leadership requires both vision and careful execution. I am confident you can manage this effectively." Camilla felt a sense of relief. The prince's words were supportive, and she recognized the importance of maintaining a positive relationship. "I will continue refining the plans and coordinating with advisors and staff. My goal is to create meaningful connections and ensure that the programs reflect the values of the royal household," she said. The meeting continued with detailed discussion of schedules, logistics, and potential challenges. Camilla listened carefully, noting suggestions and considering how to implement them. She felt motivated by the constructive feedback and the opportunity to lead a project of significant importance. After the briefing, Camilla returned to her chambers to incorporate the ideas discussed with Prince William. She revised her notes and adjusted timelines. Each modification strengthened her plans, making them more practical and impactful. She also recognized the importance of clear communication with her team. By keeping advisors informed and involved, she ensured that everyone worked toward the same goals. That evening, Camilla took a quiet walk through the palace gardens. The sun was setting, casting warm orange and pink light across the grounds. She reflected on the past weeks. Being replaced at the meeting had been challenging, but it had also taught her valuable lessons. She had learned patience, observation, and strategic thinking. She realized that setbacks could be turned into opportunities with the right mindset. As she walked, she noticed some staff members discussing preparations for upcoming events. She approached them politely, asking questions and listening to their suggestions. By engaging with them directly, she not only gathered practical information but also strengthened her relationships within the palace. She understood that trust and collaboration were essential for success. Camilla returned to her chambers and reviewed her work once more. She was determined to lead the cultural initiative successfully. Demonstrating her skills and dedication, she knew that her efforts would reflect her capability and commitment to the royal household. She also recognized that careful planning, respect for protocol, and thoughtful leadership would earn her recognition and influence. Before retiring for the night, Camilla wrote in her journal. She recorded her observations, progress, and reflections. Writing allowed her to organize her thoughts and maintain clarity about her goals. She noted that every challenge presented an opportunity to grow, and she reminded herself to remain patient and focused. As the moonlight filled her chambers, Camilla felt a sense of calm determination. She knew that palace life was full of complexities and unexpected changes. By remaining composed, attentive, and strategic, she could navigate challenges successfully. The cultural initiative was her chance to demonstrate leadership, build influence, and create meaningful impact. Camilla understood that setbacks did not define her. What mattered was her response, her preparation, and her ability to learn and adapt. She had turned the disappointment of being replaced at the meeting into motivation to excel in a new area. She was ready to face the future with confidence, intelligence, and grace. Her thoughts returned to the foreign dignitaries she would eventually meet through the initiative. She envisioned programs that would strengthen relationships, promote understanding, and reflect positively on the royal family. Every detail mattered, from the presentation of gifts to the arrangement of meetings and discussions. Camilla knew that careful planning and attention to detail would make the initiative successful and memorable. As she closed her journal, Camilla felt a sense of readiness. She had taken the lessons from the past week and transformed them into action. She was determined to lead the cultural initiative with thoughtfulness, skill, and dedication. Palace life would continue to present challenges, but Camilla was prepared to face them with intelligence, patience, and unwavering commitment. With a final glance at the moonlit gardens, Camilla turned off the lights and prepared for rest. Tomorrow would bring new opportunities, and she would be ready to embrace them fully. Her journey of leadership and influence had just begun, and she was determined to navigate it with grace and strength. The morning air was crisp and fresh as Camilla walked through the palace gardens. She carried a folder with her notes and schedules, reviewing the details of the cultural initiative she had worked so hard to prepare. Today, she would begin putting her plans into action. She felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Leading such a significant project was both an honor and a challenge, but she was determined to show her capability. She arrived at the meeting room where her advisors and staff were already gathered. Lady Margaret and Mr. Parker were present, as well as several junior staff members who would assist in coordinating the programs. Camilla greeted each person politely, and the room fell quiet as she began speaking. "Good morning, everyone," she said. "Today we will start organizing the first set of programs for the cultural initiative. I want us to work carefully, ensuring that every detail is well prepared. Our goal is to create meaningful connections and show respect for each country we will engage with." She went over the schedule step by step, explaining the purpose of each event, the expected guests, and the key objectives. Her team listened attentively, taking notes and asking questions where needed. Camilla made sure to involve everyone, valuing their opinions and experience. She understood that collaboration was essential for success. After the discussion, Camilla met with the palace protocol team. She wanted to ensure that every aspect of the initiative adhered to proper etiquette. She reviewed seating arrangements, formal greetings, and the presentation of gifts. The protocol officers appreciated her careful attention to detail, and they offered helpful advice to make the event smooth and respectful. By midday, Camilla had completed most of the preparations. She took a moment to step outside and breathe in the fresh air. The palace grounds were peaceful, and the gentle rustle of leaves provided a comforting backdrop. She reflected on the journey that had brought her here. Being replaced at the foreign meeting had been a disappointment, but it had also motivated her to work harder and plan more carefully. She realized that leadership was not about avoiding challenges, but about facing them with focus and determination. Later, the first group of foreign representatives arrived. Camilla had prepared a welcoming speech and a brief introduction to the programs she had designed. She dressed elegantly, exuding calm confidence. As she greeted the visitors, she shook hands firmly and spoke with a warm, genuine tone. Her preparation and poise impressed the representatives immediately. The meeting began with a presentation of the cultural programs. Camilla explained the objectives clearly, emphasizing collaboration, mutual respect, and shared learning. She highlighted how each program would benefit both the guests and the royal family, creating opportunities for long-term relationships. The representatives asked questions about logistics, cultural considerations, and possible outcomes. Camilla answered each one confidently and thoughtfully, demonstrating both knowledge and attention to detail. She listened carefully to their concerns and suggestions, making notes for adjustments where needed. Her respectful and professional approach earned nods of approval from everyone present. During the discussion, Camilla noticed subtle reactions from her team. Some seemed surprised by her command and clarity, while others appeared inspired by her leadership. She realized that her influence within the palace was growing, not through formal titles alone, but through the respect she earned by handling challenges effectively. After the meeting, Camilla walked the representatives through the palace gardens, showing them areas designated for cultural activities. She explained how each location had been chosen to create an immersive experience that reflected the values of their own countries, as well as the royal family's commitment to collaboration. The visitors expressed appreciation for her thoughtfulness and attention to detail, praising her initiative as both creative and practical. Camilla returned to her chambers in the late afternoon, feeling a sense of accomplishment. She reviewed notes from the meeting and began planning follow-up tasks. She wanted to ensure that the next steps were clear, organized, and executed efficiently. Her determination to lead effectively was strengthened by the positive feedback from the representatives and her own sense of satisfaction in a job well done. That evening, Camilla received a message from Lady Margaret. It requested her presence in a private sitting room for a discussion about future phases of the initiative. Camilla prepared carefully, reviewing her notes and considering possible questions. She wanted to present herself as capable, knowledgeable, and ready to take on increasing responsibilities. When she arrived, Lady Margaret greeted her warmly. "Your Highness, the success of today's meetings has been noted by the senior household members. They are impressed by your leadership and attention to detail. I wanted to discuss the next phase of the cultural initiative and how we can expand its reach." Camilla listened attentively as Lady Margaret outlined plans for additional programs, including educational exchanges, art exhibitions, and collaborative workshops. Each idea was designed to strengthen connections with foreign representatives and promote understanding between cultures. Camilla asked questions, suggested improvements, and offered her own ideas. Her proactive approach impressed Lady Margaret, who nodded in approval at each thoughtful response. "You have shown great skill in organizing and leading these programs," Lady Margaret said. "It is clear that your influence is growing. Continue to work carefully and thoughtfully, and you will earn further opportunities to lead." Camilla felt a surge of determination. She understood that success required consistent effort, patience, and strategic thinking. She would continue to refine her plans, engage with her team, and ensure that every event reflected excellence and attention to detail. The following days were filled with preparation, coordination, and execution of programs. Camilla worked closely with her advisors, staff, and protocol officers, maintaining a balance of authority and collaboration. She ensured that every detail, from invitations to seating arrangements, was handled meticulously. Her dedication inspired her team, creating an atmosphere of mutual respect and efficiency. During one of the programs, Camilla noticed a minor logistical challenge. A scheduled event conflicted with another planned activity, and some materials had not arrived on time. Instead of panicking, she calmly assessed the situation, reorganized schedules, and delegated tasks to ensure that everything ran smoothly. Her team followed her lead, and the event proceeded without disruption. Camilla realized that her ability to remain composed under pressure was one of her strongest qualities as a leader. After the program, she met with the foreign representatives to gather feedback. They expressed satisfaction with the arrangements, praising the initiative for its clarity, organization, and thoughtful planning. Camilla thanked them for their input, noting each suggestion for improvements in future programs. She understood that listening and adapting were essential components of successful leadership. By the end of the week, Camilla had overseen multiple programs, each growing in scale and complexity. She had earned recognition from her advisors, staff, and the visiting representatives. More importantly, she had gained confidence in her ability to lead effectively. She knew that setbacks and challenges were part of palace life, but she had learned to approach them strategically and with resilience. One evening, as Camilla walked through the palace gardens, she reflected on her journey. She remembered the moment when Thomas had informed her that she would not attend the meeting with the foreign dignitaries. At the time, it had felt like a setback, a personal disappointment. But now she realized that the experience had motivated her to focus on areas where she could truly make a difference. She had turned frustration into action, and in doing so, she had strengthened both her skills and her influence. The gardens were quiet under the soft glow of lanterns, and the air carried the scent of blooming flowers. Camilla felt a sense of calm determination. She understood that leadership was not about avoiding challenges, but about facing them thoughtfully and confidently. She had learned that influence came from competence, patience, and careful planning. Camilla returned to her chambers, reviewing her plans for the upcoming programs. She wanted to ensure that each initiative continued to reflect excellence and thoughtful consideration. The success of her efforts so far had proven that setbacks could be transformed into opportunities. She felt ready to face whatever challenges might come next, confident in her ability to lead with intelligence, dedication, and grace. As she prepared for rest, Camilla looked out at the palace grounds one last time. The fountains reflected the light of the moon and the gardens were peaceful. She felt a sense of accomplishment and purpose. She had turned a difficult situation into a chance to grow, to learn, and to demonstrate her leadership. The journey ahead remained full of challenges, but she was prepared to meet them with focus and resilience. Camilla knew that palace life required constant awareness, patience, and strategic thinking. Each day offered new opportunities to prove her capabilities and build meaningful connections. She felt a renewed sense of determination to continue her work, to strengthen her influence, and to ensure that her contributions were recognized and valued. The morning sun rose over the palace, casting golden light on the grand gardens. Camilla stood at the window of her chambers, reviewing the schedule for the final series of programs in the cultural initiative. Weeks of preparation had led to this moment. Every detail, from invitations to seating arrangements, had been carefully planned. She felt a mix of anticipation and quiet confidence. Today would be the culmination of her efforts. She walked through the palace corridors, greeting staff along the way. Their expressions reflected admiration and respect. Camilla had earned their trust and confidence through her dedication and calm leadership. She smiled warmly, knowing that teamwork had been an essential part of her success. The palace, once a place of complex rules and hierarchies, now felt like an environment where her skills and ideas were valued. When she entered the grand hall, the foreign representatives were already arriving. Camilla greeted each one with poise and sincerity, shaking hands and offering a welcoming smile. The atmosphere was formal yet warm, reflecting the careful planning and thought that had gone into every aspect of the initiative. Camilla's presence projected calm authority and competence, and the guests immediately responded with respect and interest. The program began with a presentation of cultural exchanges and collaborations. Camilla explained how the initiatives would promote education, art, and mutual understanding between countries. She highlighted how the royal household valued connection, respect, and shared learning. Each point was clear, concise, and well supported by examples and visuals. The representatives asked questions about logistics and potential outcomes. Camilla answered each question confidently, showing her understanding of both practical and cultural considerations. She listened carefully, noting suggestions and incorporating them into her future planning. Her ability to engage thoughtfully and respectfully earned admiration from everyone present. During the meeting, Camilla noticed subtle reactions from her team. The advisors and staff looked inspired, and some exchanged smiles of approval. Her leadership had created an atmosphere of calm efficiency and respect. Camilla realized that her influence had grown not because of formal authority alone, but because she had earned trust through diligence, knowledge, and thoughtfulness. After the presentation, Camilla guided the representatives through a series of activities designed to showcase cultural understanding. They visited exhibitions, participated in workshops, and observed performances highlighting traditions from both their countries and the royal household. Every event reflected careful planning, attention to detail, and a desire to create meaningful engagement. Camilla walked alongside the guests, explaining the significance of each activity and answering questions with patience and clarity. She noticed how impressed the representatives were with the level of preparation and consideration. The atmosphere was positive, collaborative, and respectful, reinforcing the success of the initiative. Later in the afternoon, Camilla held a private session with Lady Margaret and Mr. Parker to review the day's activities and feedback. Lady Margaret smiled warmly as Camilla spoke. "Your Highness, the representatives have expressed great satisfaction with the programs. They were impressed by your leadership and thoughtful approach. The success of today reflects your dedication and careful planning. Camilla felt a sense of pride, though she remained composed. Thank you, Lady Margaret. This achievement is the result of teamwork and careful preparation. I am grateful for everyone's support and guidance throughout this initiative. Mr. Parker nodded. Your leadership has inspired the team, Your Highness. They now have confidence in their own abilities and know that they can rely on your guidance. Camilla realized that one of the most important aspects of leadership was building trust and encouraging collaboration. Success was not just about individual effort, but about empowering others to contribute and feel valued. She had learned this through careful observation and experience over the past weeks. That evening, Camilla was invited to a formal reception where the foreign representatives and senior members of the royal household gathered. The event was elegant and dignified, yet Camilla's presence brought warmth and approachability. She mingled with guests, engaging in conversations that reflected both knowledge and genuine interest. Prince William arrived at the reception and approached Camilla. He spoke in a low, respectful tone. Camilla, I wanted to commend you on the success of today's programs. Your planning and leadership were impressive, and the representatives were clearly engaged and pleased. You have handled this initiative exceptionally well. Camilla smiled politely. Thank you, Your Highness. I appreciate your acknowledgement. The success was the result of careful preparation and the support of the entire team. William nodded. It is clear that your efforts have strengthened the royal household's reputation and created meaningful connections. Your ability to manage challenges calmly and thoughtfully is commendable. Camilla felt a quiet satisfaction. She realized that her perseverance, patience, and strategic approach had paid off. The disappointment of being replaced at the initial meeting had become an opportunity to prove her capability in a different, meaningful way. She had turned a setback into a demonstration of strength, intelligence, and dedication. During the reception, several representatives approached Camilla to express their appreciation directly. They complimented her attention to detail, respectful approach, and commitment to collaboration. Each acknowledgement reinforced the impact of her work. Camilla responded with humility, recognizing that her success was intertwined with the efforts of her team and the guidance she had received. After the reception, Camilla returned to her chambers to reflect on the past weeks. She reviewed her journal, noting her observations, progress, and lessons learned. She realized that palace life required adaptability, patience, and strategic thinking. Challenges were inevitable, but how one responded determined the outcome. Camilla also considered the relationships she had built with staff, advisors, and representatives. Trust, respect, and collaboration had been key to her success. By maintaining composure and showing thoughtful leadership, she had earned recognition and influence in a meaningful way. In the following days, Camilla continued to refine the cultural initiative, incorporating feedback and preparing for future programs. She worked closely with her advisors and team, ensuring that every detail was carefully managed. The success of the initiative had reinforced the importance of preparation, observation, and collaboration. One afternoon, she received a message from Sir Henry. It invited her to a private meeting with senior members of the royal household. Camilla understood that this meeting could be significant. She prepared carefully, reviewing her notes and reflecting on the achievements of the initiative. When she entered the meeting room, she was greeted with warm smiles and respectful acknowledgement. Sir Henry spoke first. Camilla, the success of the cultural initiative has been noted at the highest levels. Your leadership, preparation, and composure have earned recognition and respect. We are pleased with the impact of your efforts. Camilla nodded, maintaining her composed demeanor. Thank you. I am grateful for the guidance and support I have received. The success of the programs reflects the teamwork and dedication of everyone involved. A senior advisor spoke next. Your ability to handle challenges calmly and effectively, even when unexpected changes occurred, has shown your capability as a leader. We are confident in your potential to manage increasingly significant responsibilities within the royal household. Camilla felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The journey that had begun with disappointment and uncertainty had led to recognition, influence, and the opportunity to make a meaningful impact. She realized that perseverance, careful planning, and thoughtful leadership had transformed a setback into a demonstration of skill and dedication. After the meeting, Camilla returned to her chambers with a sense of accomplishment and clarity. She reflected on the lessons learned, patience in the face of change, observation of subtle dynamics, collaboration with others, and the importance of thoughtful preparation. These qualities had allowed her to turn a challenging situation into an opportunity for growth and success. As she walked through the palace gardens that evening, Camilla felt a renewed sense of purpose. The fountains reflected the light of the setting sun, and the flowers swayed gently in the breeze. She understood that the path of leadership required continuous learning, adaptability, and dedication. Every challenge could become a chance to demonstrate strength, intelligence, and composure. Camilla paused by a fountain, watching the water ripple in the fading light. She thought about the future and the responsibilities she would continue to embrace. She knew that palace life would bring more challenges, but she felt confident in her ability to navigate them successfully. The cultural initiative had proven that her efforts, strategy, and leadership could create meaningful results and lasting influence. That night, Camilla wrote in her journal, summarizing the lessons of the past weeks. She recorded the successes, the challenges, and the insights she had gained. Writing allowed her to reflect and maintain clarity about her goals. She reminded herself that setbacks were opportunities in disguise, and that perseverance and thoughtful action could turn